Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Inspire SA. I have to say, it's been a while since we've been on the show, and I don't know, it's just been a while and kind of missed it as well. So, yeah, today we're not going to take up most of your time. We have a special episode today, and before I announce him, you already know him, so I don't think there's a really need to announce him. He's on your screens every Thursdays. He's part of the Power Ninjas, and now he's just joined an elite group of people or working at one of the best companies in the world, Microsoft. So yeah, that's just one of the things that I can say from the top of my head, and a really good friend of mine. So yeah, I'm gonna introduce Someleze onto the to come on board. Hey Someleze, you good?
Hey, Narcissus, I'm good. How are you, man?
I'm good as well, bro. It's finally good to see you back into the studio or onto the show.
Yeah, it's been a very long time, man. I'm really happy to be back.
Awesome, awesome. So yeah, firstly, from my side and the rest of SA and all the Inspire SA family, a big congratulations to your recent employment. It's really a big achievement, and as I said on the poster, dreams do come true. Hey.
Yeah, they do. They definitely do.
So yeah, so that's what we'll be speaking about in today's episode on this small short session. Um, So basically, the purpose of today's session is just an indication or want you to share with others how you actually got to Microsoft, the struggles that you went through, the challenges that you faced, the decisions that you had to make, those along the way, opportunities that arose and how you took them and everything. So basically, along those lines. So I think I'll give you the go ahead since it's just though it's better for you to narrate it instead of me dictating how it goes. So yeah, I can let you start from in the beginning.
In the beginning, that's what normally people say. So say in the beginning. They're not saying not in the beginning. Well, it's a very funny story for me actually. Well, it's not funny, but it's not that interesting. But if I start from the beginning is like weird. But I can just start, right? So for me, like for an example, I never told anyone on the show that I'm from where I'm from. So let me start there. I'm from a very small town called Mount Frey in the Eastern Cape. And I went to a school called St. George's Senior Secondary School, and there we never really had any what you call any subjects that had to do with IT or something like that. Like for an example, anything that has to do with programming. So I was just clueless. But the only thing we had I can give credit for is that maybe around grade 8 or so, I think if I remember correctly, grade 8 or grade 7, we had like CAT. So that was just like basically your Word, your Excel, and your Access and your PowerPoint and stuff. But after that, we didn't have that. But thankfully, I had like great teachers who took us to career exhibitions, obviously. But I applied for like courses in DUT, and I chose applications development. I didn't know anything about it. Like I said, I come from a school that has nothing to do with programming. We know nothing about programming. But it was a very like a big learning curve for me because I didn't know anything when I got to varsity. It was just all this new stuff, programming languages. What is that? Because I only know one language, the one I speak, which is Xhosa or English sometimes. So I'm like, it's so weird. But
Mm,
to be quite honest, though, when I was going to like a practical within university, we had practicals where we had to go write code instead of doing like theory all the time. So when we did that, when we went for practicals, like that's the most iconic day of my life. When we went for those practicals, what happened was I saw everyone that was in my class and they were just typing. They asked us to write like a very simple program. Everyone was typing on their computers. I was so clueless. Like I was super clueless. I didn't know what was going on. Thankfully, there was a lady named Bonga Mukwena who was next to me. Like she's one of my friends who was next to me, and she was just showing me stuff within the computer lab saying that, okay, this is how you do, this is how you open Visual Studio, and this is how you write code within Visual Studio. So I was really grateful for her, because if she wasn't there, I was gonna stay clueless and I was never gonna write any program. But after that, obviously, for some time, I was like, okay, it's a new thing. I know nothing about it. I enrolled in this course. Obviously, just because I know nothing and just because I've never been exposed to something like this doesn't mean I should just give up and say, oh, I'm going to fail varsity. I mean, I'm in varsity, and there's a lot of people who want to be in varsity, and sometimes they can't get into varsity. So I was very appreciative of that specific fact. So I was like, okay, let me just try my best, learn this, dedicate my time and see what exactly I can do. So like the rest was history from that point on forward, because I dedicated my time in studying and writing programs, getting it like a new PC. Like my aunt got me a new PC because when I got to varsity, I didn't have a laptop to code on, and I couldn't stay behind for like computer labs within campus, because it was very weird for me, because it was a new city that I'm not used to. So I had to leave early so that I don't get in trouble when I go back home, because I was staying with my aunt. So I learned programming. It was fun. I started investing more time in it. Like when I reached my second year, I had already familiarized myself with programming with C sharp basically. C sharp. I was familiar with C sharp. It was very nice. Did something called Windows Forms. I was very good at it at the time, because obviously the investment of my time on learning programming paid off. So I was already good with programming, and then there was this tutorial class. So like for like each year, I have a specific iconic day. So first year, my iconic day was like, okay, I don't know anything. It was a practical that we had at the computer lab. Then on in my second year, my iconic day, which is the day that actually defined, or that was rolling out my path within the, let's say, IT industry, or within my skills that I have today, was that specific day within my second year. So what happened was, we had a tutorial class, because I had the experience from the previous year, not having anything to learn, not being able to write programs on my first practical class for first year. So I didn't want that to happen in second year. So I just invested my time. I was like, okay, we have a tutorial. I need to attend this tutorial, because the tutor is going to show us how to actually do, like, how to write like programs within second years, because it's going to be different from first year. So I go to the tutorial class. When I got there, like on the tutorial venue, when I got there, I was the only one there, and my tutor was already there. He was the only one just waiting for the class. And when I got there, when he was like, "Where's everyone?" I'm like, "I was about to ask you the same question. Where's everyone?" And then it's like, "Okay, let's just wait for them for like 5 minutes and then see what happens." We waited for like 5 minutes and no one showed up. So I was the only one who
Yo,
showed up for the for the tutorial. I was the only one. So I started feeling like, you know, I started feeling like I'm a nerd, or
like, yeah,
I
you're
love
over, you're doing overboard.
yeah, exactly. I started feeling like that. I was like, oh damn. Oh, probably if my classmates would actually see me now, they would actually judge me and say like, why did you go and stuff. But that tutor today is my business partner. His name is Fanindlov. He was my tutor in second year, and that's how I met him. So from the from the tutorial venue, he took me. He was like, "Okay, I see that you like learning, and because you showed up, I see that you like learning. Come with me." So we left the tutorial venue. We went to the computer labs. When we got there, he was like, "I have this event happening on Saturday. I would like for you to attend it if you're interested." And I was like, "Yeah, sure, please do." Just send me the link. And then it's like, okay, give me your email. I'll send you the link so that you can attend this event. And I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. I'm not doing anything on Saturday. So my weekends, I was just like sitting at home at my place, just sit and either watch movies or do anything else. But I had nothing to do on Saturday. So I was like, let me just attend and do something useful and see what's going to happen. So I attended that event. That event was hosted by Fanny and Varsity Genie. So that's how I knew Varsity Genie. And that event, they did it in partnership with Google. So I started learning about Google Cloud, which is not something
Mm.
that they were teaching us within campus. They were just teaching us how to write basic programs and stuff, but they never showed us how to do cloud computing. Whereas that event that Funny invited me on was doing cloud computing, and I started learning about cloud computing. And cloud computing at that time was just introduced within South Africa. So I was like, oh, this is interesting. This is fun. So I attended that event. It was very fun. He asked me afterwards, he's like, how did I find it? I was like, it was really great. And I asked him if he has more, can he carry on sharing the links to like register for the event and then tell me the day so that I can actually attend. So after that, I would like regularly attend each and every second Saturday. I would attend his events alongside Google and Varsity Genie just to learn about cloud computing. And then from that point on forward, I got involved with Varsity Genie. So I was part of Varsity Genie. So I was like a trainee or a recruited,
Recruitment.
whatever you call it. So I was like new, and instead of attending the events now that Funny used to invite me on, I was involved in organizing those events. I was involved in delivering the content with Funny for cloud computing. So obviously, when you're involved in that, you actually start to learn about you start to learn it yourself before you can deliver it to people. So I
Mm.
started learning about cloud computing using like Google Cloud, the Google Cloud platform. That was like the first cloud platform I was introduced to. I learned that, organized the events, carried on delivering all of the sessions, advised my friends to come through, and most of them would come and attend these events. I like again, that same lady who helped me in first year, she would attend those events too as well.
Really?
She would, yeah, it was really fun. Like because she helped me in first year, so I chose to let her know. I was like, to show her gratitude, let me show her what is being done outside what we're doing within campus. So I would invite her to those events and she would come on a regular basis. So it was very fun to learn about the Google Cloud platform at the time. It was very great. And then from that point on, obviously, me attending those events, it was giving me the experience, the exposure within like Google Cloud. And then I got more involved with Varsity Genie. So mostly my path is is around Varsity Genie and what Varsity Genie actually did for me. Well, mostly what Funny did for me and Moss. So what happened was after that time of attending events, organizing events within campus, Fanny was like, okay, I see that you actually really do like learning, and I would like for you to gain like more skills, not be focused on having only IT skills where you're just learning about stuff and then you're doing it on your own. So him and Moss at the time, that was his business partner at that time. He at the time invited me to another event, but this event was a conference. So that conference you had to pay for the tickets to go there. It was a business conference. I think it was in Umhlanga called Aha Hotel, somewhere there.
Mm.
So he invited me to that conference with a group of other students within Varsity Genie. He said, "Okay, let's go to this conference, try to network." So I had no networking skills, but he took a risk to invite me and say, we want Varsity Genie to be exposed with other people in the business world. So I am inviting you to go there as well. I was like, but I know nothing about business. I know nothing about networking. It's like, no, you will see there. It's fine. Don't worry. So I was like, okay, fine. Let's go. We got to the conference. The conference was fun. We did some networking. Like my world started opening up and my eyes started opening up where I started gaining skills of networking, speaking to people, obviously getting out of my comfort zone because I'm not one to just go out there and start speaking to people that I don't know. So I started like speaking to people, networking, getting any business partnership that could actually come from there. So that would be the same pattern I would be following throughout my second year with Finding Jovu, where he was just showing me all of those different skills. Obviously, I was not the only one. there was other people within Varsity Genie that he was inviting to do all of these things together with. And then third year, which was I think 2020 somewhere there. Third
2020.
year, yeah, third year I got, so while I know Varsity Genie and I know Fanny Glovu now, we are very close. We are doing events together. Whenever he needs help, he comes to me. Whenever I need help, I go to him. So in my third year, before I could before I could start the year, I think it was 2020. So before I could start the year, when the previous year ended, I had received a phone call from Fanny. He was like, Someleze, do you want to go to, like, do you have a passport? That was the question he asked me. He's like, do you have a passport? I was like, a passport? Why would I have a passport? Why? And it's like, do you have a passport or not? And I was like, no, I do not. And then it's like, oh, okay, go make one. I'm like, why am I making a passport? He's like, stop asking me too many questions. Go make a. And I'm like, I am so confused. But I was like, okay, because I know this man, I trust him. I went to do the passport. I told him I did it, and then he was like, okay, so here's what's happening. Next year, you are going to Thailand to attend the United Nations or Humanitarian Affairs Peace Summit. I was like, Thailand, me? Why me? And he's like, no, just go. You will learn a lot. Just go there. Don't worry about it. And I'm like, hmm, a different country. And it's like it's a serious conference. So I'm like, it's not your usual campus events that we normally do. Those people I'm used to. So it's like a different playing field. But the entire idea after that, I went to Thailand, obviously. When I got to Thailand, it was really great. I learned a lot, networked, made friends from like different countries, which was like one of my biggest goals as ever since I started, like ever since I was a kid. So I made friends from different countries, all of that, did the networking, all of those things. The entire idea behind Funny doing that, he was trying to expose me to how different people think differently. Like how, for an example, you and I could have the same idea, or you could think differently, but it doesn't end there. I have to like broaden and widen my range of people that I'm around to see how they actually think and how they solve problems. So that was his entire plan. That's why I was sent to Thailand. I was not the only one again. There was other students that went to Thailand as well, namely Smani and Nombuso and other students from campus. So he was like, go there. And then from there, I was like, okay, fine, I'm going. When I came back from Thailand, there's one thing he did. He was like, okay, now you've came back from the conference. Here's the next thing to do. I'm like, this man keeps giving me things to do. What's going on? So I was starting to get worried. I'm like, so many things. Is this man okay? And then I'm like, because I want to learn stuff, and most of the time, since I've been involved with him, I've been learning different kinds of things, different skill sets, all of those things. So I was like, okay, no, it's fine. Hit me with your best shot, Fanny. And then he's like, okay, here's what you should do. There's this program called the Student Partners Program. So at the time it was called Microsoft Student Partners, but now it's
MSP.
called a different, yeah, it's called something different. So he's like, you should apply for it. And I'm like, okay, I applied for it, Fanny, when you told me. And then he's like, okay, that's fine. And then I got accepted from on the program, and then I was part of the program. And then he sent Spani, and I think Spani went with Homo to Joburg. There was MS Ignite, the tour in Joburg. And then Spani
Ignite.
came back and he gave him a report back, and was like, okay, this is what happened within Ignite. And Donna Sakar introduced this specific technology, which is called Microsoft Power Apps, where you can build apps without writing any code. And then in my head, I'm like, I've always wanted to build a mobile application. Like I've always wanted to do that, but the time it takes to actually build a mobile application if you're coding it from scratch. So I didn't have that time since Funny was involving me in all of these different things, and I was just trying to learn all of these different things all at once. So I was like, okay, what is this platform about? And then Spani gives his report back. And then funny is like, since you heard that there's this thing called Microsoft Power Apps, like that was like 2 days later after he told, like Spani told us that. It's like, okay, Enactus DUT needs a specific app. They have a specific timesheet entry process, but it's traditional. They're still writing things on paper. And I'm like, okay. And then like, okay, I would like for you to build. Oh, he was like, I would like for you to build an app for them, and a timesheet app for them using Microsoft Power Apps. Mind you, I know nothing about Power Apps. I've never learnt it. I only heard it from Spani when he came back from Joburg. I'm like, he wants me to make an app with a technology I do not know. And then I was like, okay, let's take this challenge. I took the challenge. We built the Enactus timesheet app last last year in 2020 using Microsoft Power Apps alongside Lebo. I call him chairman. He's my chairman. Definitely chairman of the Power Ninjas. So we built the Enactus timesheet app alongside with Lebo. Obviously, COVID hit, and then there was lockdown. I went back home. While I was at home, I carried on learning about Microsoft Power Apps. So I was building the app whilst learning how you can build apps within Microsoft Power Apps, the different things that were there. So we built the app for Enactus. We launched it. I remember launching it. I was at home. When we launched the app, I was at home and I slept at 3 a.m. trying to make sure that there would be no issues when people are starting to use it in the morning, like at 7 a.m. when they wake up. So we built the app, rolled it out to Enactors, asked them to try it out. They started using the app. Obviously, there was some feedbacks and stuff saying that, okay, we can improve here. How can we use this? And then we wrote like a manual for them to be able to use it. But till this day, Enactors is using that Power app to actually capture their timesheet processes because the entire idea behind the Enactors timesheet app was because normally they would go for audits, they would go to competitions, and whenever they go for those two things, they would have to count their hours on a regular basis. So now imagine if you're counting hours and you're looking at a piece of paper and then you're no longer sure because you're doubting yourself, you're no longer sure if you said it was 52 or it was 42, and then now you have to recount again. So that was the issue with the timesheet process that they had already. So we just built that timesheet app, and that was automatically counting the hours for each and every single Enactus member. They would like on the app. They would like if I'm a member, I would see my own hours and my own tasks, and then you would see your own tasks, and then the Enactus president, I remember at the time it was Mtunzi, he would look at everyone's tasks. So he would see the total hours put in by everyone within Enactus. So they were using the app, they went for audits, they were able to download like an Excel spreadsheet, like the data within the app, if they wanted to download it as a spreadsheet because they needed to send the information to the Enactus office, like the national Enactus office. Obviously, they do not have accounts to access the app. Only people within DUT who are part of Enactus can access the app. So what happened was there was a button where they can click on download, would run a Power Automate flow to generate an Excel spreadsheet to put all of the information, send it as an email to the Enactus president, and then the Enactus president would send it to the national office. So that was like a big learning curve for me, and that was the start of my Power Apps journey or Power Platform journey. That was the biggest start, all because of being assigned tasks by Fanny Ndlovu. And then obviously after that, I started engaging more within the program, the MSP program, engaging more, hosting events. I remember in 2020, Spani, Lebo, and I hosted our first event teaching about Microsoft Power Apps and also Power Automate. So it was an alternating session. It was really great. And then after that, I think last year, which is fast forwarding to 2021, where you, Mr. Narcissus, you came with this amazing idea to have Inspire SA so that we can teach people. about the different technologies that are out there that we feel like they are skills that were needed. So through that idea, obviously, even today, as I'm speaking, Inspire SA exists now because of that beautiful idea. It exists. We come to this platform, we teach people. It's so nice. So you came up with that idea. Now it's in fruition. The biggest thing that I used within speaking or teaching through Inspire Essay was the skills I gained from all of these different tasks that Fanny Ndlovu had assigned to me when I met him and when he was still grooming me. So it was so great, so wonderful. All of the things that he taught me, all of the things I saw him doing, I said I would like to do that for other people as well. So that's why when we came to Inspire SA, we made sure that we include everyone, we teach everyone every single thing that we already know. That's where obviously my skills for the Power Platform grew even further because I had to prepare a session before I can teach someone what to do within the Microsoft Power Platform. I have to learn it myself. The same way AI Tuesdays does it. You
Mm.
go and you learn yourself first, and then you come back and then you say, okay, this is what we can do, or this is what you can do, having proof checked it. And that's what even Azure Fridays did. That's the same thing. So that's the thing that we employed with the Power Platform. My skills grew from there, and then through what's funny with this journey is that through all of that and being involved with Inspire SA, something else grew out of it. So what happened was last year around May, not even around May, in April, again, Fanny Ndlovu was a key player in this whole thing. He he came up with this beautiful idea by engaging with our faculty within our university, which is the Faculty of Accounting and Informatics. Beautiful idea of building a community engagement app where DUT can be able to measure the community engagement projects that are being done by students and by the staff within DUT. So he came up with an amazing idea to build an app for that. And again, I was his victim, but more so I was more of his tool to actually do that. So alongside him, we built the community engagement app for the, I don't know what to call it, but the DVC office, research, innovation, and engagement. I think
DT.
yeah, at DUT though. It's headed by Prof. Moyo and I think Miss Pumzile Aba, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm.
So we built the app for them, and they loved it. We presented it to DUT, and that was a big opportunity for us. We built that app. We were giving back to our university, all of because they gave us the resources, obviously, which is our student accounts, where we found the Power Platform, we found Power Apps, and then we started building something. So we were like, okay, since we have the resources, why not give back to the DUT community? Why not give back to the university, since they already enabled us so much to actually become great at our craft, become great with our skills. So we built that app for them. They loved it. They rolled it out to their staff. They started using it. And then obviously, within IT, the customer always wants more. So so they wanted more. We built like we used all of the different technologies that we learned on our own, and also all of the different technologies that we were taught within DUT together to build that specific solution for the community engagement office within DUT. And then after that, obviously, after doing so much with Funding Global, I was able to get a job because we know unemployment within the country is a very big problem. I got a job from a local company that is within Durban.
It's
So I got
true.
a job, yeah, and I was an intern for for the position called SharePoint / Power Platform Developer. That position, I got it because of this Power Platform skills that I developed within 2020 and 2021, like that time period. So if it had not been for Funny in 2020 saying, okay, since you've heard that there's Power Apps and please go and do this app for Enactus DUT. If it had not been for that specific moment, I probably wouldn't have gotten the job. But because I did it and Funny assigned that specific task to me, I was able to gain the skills that were necessary to actually qualify me and get me that specific job within the local company, which is something I'm very grateful for. That the company is called Greenlight Solutions. It's in Durban, and from there, I even in that company, I was learning all of the different ways to actually use the Power Platform to bring solutions into life. Like really great company culture, really great people. It was so nice to learn about the Power Platform even more, even further. And then fast forward, obviously, to what brings us here today. What brings us here today, because it's like a very big journey that I can't sum up like within a few minutes. So what brings us here today is that through all of these different engagements, through the different technologies, through the different conferences and events that Funny exposed me on, and taking that knowledge and using it to present within Inspire SA, present within different international conferences for Microsoft, like for an example, Start Dev Change in 2020, the Scottish Summit in 2021. I know you were there in Scottish Summit as well. Scottish Summit in 2021 and Microsoft Build.
Mm.
That's one of the biggest conferences within Microsoft. All of those opportunities that I got to actually present in those conferences and present within Inspire SA and get those jobs were through all of the things that I learned from Funny. Every single thing that he was doing, I was looking at it and trying to apply it and see how I can learn from him. And he was teaching me, he was giving me advices all the time whenever he was doing an event. He was saying, I'm not just doing an event to just benefit myself. I'm doing an event to empower young people like you so that you can be able to gain the necessary skills to make you competent within your own country and competent internationally. And if I can say, he did a very great job, because look at me now. I have a job with Microsoft, and it's not just Microsoft South Africa. It's actually Microsoft that is in London, United Kingdom. So it's like what Fanny wanted to do, he achieved it. He made me competent on an international scale. So it was really great. So I got the job as a cloud advocate at Microsoft through all of these different things that I just explained and spoken about, which is the different skills that I learned from Fanny, the different events that I've been involved in and engaged in. Like for an example, also speaking in Inspire SA, because also Inspire SA, you saw us like almost every single Thursday or almost every single Tuesday, speaking to you and coming and saying, "Oh, you guys should attend. You learn a lot and all of these things." And it was looking funny as if we were trying to say in your face, here's Inspire Essay. Whereas the reality is, even Inspire Essay, as I was coming here and teaching people about the Power Platform, enabled me to actually get a better chance at getting the cloud advocate position that I have now in Microsoft, which is one of the things I'm grateful for. All of that teaching, all of that time invested in showing people how to use Power Apps with Power Automate, how to use Power Apps with SharePoint, how to, try to show off on Nassis when he was using AI Tuesdays and trying to do sentiment analysis. And then I used it within Power Thursdays as well for Power Apps using AI Builder. All of those things enabled me to be able to get a job at Microsoft and become a cloud advocate for the Power Platform. So I got the job and I became a cloud advocate through the skills I gained from Ufani from 2020 when I learned about the Microsoft Power Platform. So basically, that is my journey in a
Wow.
nutshell.
You really said a lot, and I was just like, it's your story. You're gonna explain, and once you're done explaining, I'm just gonna ask questions afterwards. I'm not gonna interrupt you at all. And yeah, the best stories are stories that's well told by the person themselves, not dictated or
Yeah, true.
narrated. I got loads of questions on my side, and I also have some loads of comments on the other side. So yeah, I'm sorry about that. So The thing that I picked up from what you've just told me is that it's first of all important to be careful who you allow in your life, who you decide to follow, who you decide to take mentorship from,
Yeah,
because it goes a long way. That's the first thing I'm taking. And then the second thing that I'm taking is don't complain, you know, just do it because you never know how far it will go. And
true.
don't judge the scale of something because even though maybe that's small, it goes a long way over time. And
Yeah,
that's also another thing that I've gotten. And lastly, like one of I've got a lot of pointers in my head. I'm just like going down the list. So the last point that I want to mention and very crucial as well is that everyone that you meet in your life is has a role to play one way or another, and it's like up to
that's
you to
true.
choose what role you want them to play. Either they'll lead you to what you're supposed to go, or like make you go backwards, and you don't want that. So
That's true.
that's just those are just my personal points that I've gotten, and everything is so connected. So, like yeah, I hope everyone got to hear the side of the story, and then there seems to be no questions in the chat. So the question that I want to ask is, how are you feeling throughout all of this? I know you mentioned it, but were you feeling like complaining? Was it becoming too much? And how did you like know to recognize the opportunities here and there when it came?
Well, with regards to the feeling, it's a bit it's a bit vague for me because I don't know. I have this attitude towards stuff most of the time. Like for an example, like when I started the entire journey, when I was explaining to you, I got
Mm,
enrolled within DUT for applications development, diploma in applications development, which I knew nothing about. And when I got to DUT and introduced to all of those different programming languages, I was a bit like maybe I failed to mention, but I was failing basically. Like for the programming course, whenever we had to write a program, I would fail that test.
mm,
Luckily, the only thing that kept me afloat was because of the theory parts of the, like for example, within the question paper, there'll be theory questions. So obviously I can define stuff, I can use some form of logic that I don't know where I got it from. So in a sense, in a sense, that was a bit discouraging because I was failing, but I knew why I was failing. It was because it was a foreign thing, it was a new thing to me. So instead of saying to myself, I'm failing, why did I even choose this? Why am I even here? What I did was shift the way I looked at the situation. I was like, when I left high school and when I left home, because I'm from Eastern Cape. So I can't travel all the way from Eastern Cape and come here and complain. So when I left home, I was like, whatever challenge is pointed towards me or is put in my way, I'll try my best to overcome it or to go around it, whichever one
mm,
is possible. So when I was presented with a situation where I knew nothing about programming, I knew nothing about how to write code, I was like, okay, you're failing. That's fine. Everyone fails at some point. So what you can do now, because obviously it's not something failure was not something I knew in high school because I was just passing everything. But now when I started failing within university, it was a big problem for me. So I was like, okay, you're failing. You know what you can do. You're not here to just give up. I mean, you already got your foot in the door. You're in university. And there's a lot of people who want to be in university, but they can't. So just pick yourself up, start learning about this. When you get a PC, when you get a laptop, start practicing on a regular basis on how to write a program. Like write different programs or write even the programs that are given as examples within like the paper that you get from campus or from your lecturer. So I started learning from that point on forward, and I never looked back in like in terms of programming because obviously I was passing after that. Like I passed my modules, my exams for June. I passed my exams for like second semester with flying colors. And I looked back because I think I remember I was writing on my birthday for on like on my first year. I was writing on my birthday and I reflected when I found my results for second semester. I reflected on the first day when I wrote a program. I was like, that day you were so discouraged about failing, but look at you today, scoring such a high mark on the same module that you said you were failing and it was discouraging you. It's a good thing that you took a decision. Like I was telling myself, it's a good thing that you took the decision to actually learn this. As much as it's not something you're familiar with, as much as it's something new, learn it, be good at it, and start passing. And then from that point on forward, obviously, I guess my attitude started growing more. I was like, okay, since you know how to write a program, passing should not be just your only goal. Your goal is to learn each and every single thing or each and every single knowledge that you can get your hands on. Most especially if you're in this field, if you're in the IT industry, obviously it's a new thing. So why just learn just to pass?
Mm,
Learn to understand the entire industry, learn to get all of the different skills within that industry because you're already in there. So there's nothing else that you can do. Just carry on, start learning, improve, get more skills, improve, 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 improve. So that was like a big part of my life where I just decided to myself, there's the challenge, which is I'm failing my modules, start learning. So
mm,
I started adopting that attitude to almost each and every single thing. Like for an example, even with the Power Platform, I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know anything about Power Apps. Only when Spani mentioned it, and he was like, "There's this thing called Power Apps, and this is what it can do." But still, that was just like him just saying that it exists. He didn't say, he didn't give me like an entire explanation of what it does and how you can do stuff with it. I had to learn it. And when Fanny assigned it to me, obviously, when I had to build the app, I said, I know nothing about this, but I need to build an app. So I have this pressure of not knowing, like I have this pressure of not knowing the technology, and I have to produce something out of it, or else I'm going to disappoint someone whom I think of is very dear to me,
mm.
and someone who's given me different opportunities from that point on forward. So I had that pressure, and then I was like, remember what you said to yourself in first year. Each and every single time when you get an opportunity to learn something new or you're presented with something new, learn it, be good at it, sharpen your skills, keep improving. Even if you think you're good, you're not good. Carry on improving over and over again. So that's like one of the biggest things that I try to use in my life, which is gain the knowledge, carry on having this attitude to actually keep on learning, gaining new skills if I have to gain new skills. Like that's how it is. Like there was
I
a
see.
moment of discouragement within campus at some point when I was in class. My lecturer used this quote saying, "A jack of all trades is a master of none." I was so discouraged in class. I was like, what? I want to learn so many things about this. I just got to this. Now you're telling me I shouldn't be learning all these different things because I'm going to be a master of none. And then I was like, in my head, like literally, because I adopted the attitude in first year. So it was in second year when she said that. So I adopted the idea in first year. I was like, I said to myself when she said that, well, if you say that, I'm going to debunk what you're saying. I will prove you wrong.
Mm,
Even though I didn't tell her that, obviously, I told myself, telling myself and saying, I'm going to prove her wrong, that I am going to I'm going to become a master of I'm going to become like a jack of all trades and I will master each and every single thing I am presented with. So that was like the entire idea to defeat my discouragement each and every single time. Whenever someone said, even if you learn something new, you shouldn't learn it. You should be discouraged. Carry on with what you already have and with what you already know. Because if I did not develop that specific attitude, all of these different opportunities that were presented to me, I wouldn't have been able to take them on. Like for an example, even the even the moment where I had to go speak at an international conference, which is Start Dev Change. That was going to be my first time presenting to a very, very huge audience, huge international audience. And it was like a Microsoft, like people who are watching things from Microsoft. I was discouraged at first when I was like on Twitter because it was a tweet. I replied to a tweet from Donna Sakar when she said, "I need people to speak up like on this specific conference." And then I was like, "Oh, okay, no, let me just volunteer myself." And then I did. After that, I got a moment of discouragement. I was like, "But you're gonna be speaking alongside people who already know their stuff. What the hell are you doing to us?" I was so nervous. I am telling you. And then on the day, like the day before my session, we had to do like tech checks, like a practice
Mm.
run. And I had a PC that was very slow. So when I tried to do the practice run with the tech team from Microsoft, like with the production team with Microsoft from Microsoft, I failed the tech check. I failed it. I was so
Sure.
discouraged. I was super discouraged. Thankfully, I had someone there who just told me, was like, you know what? Keep your positivity, carry on, try and get a PC from someone else, from one of your friends. And then I asked one of my friends, I think, yeah, his name is Sivu and Max. I asked them to borrow me their PCs on the following day because obviously the tech check was at 8 p.m. so I couldn't get the PC at that time. So I got the PC, I did the session, I did great. Like from the feedback I got from Donna Sakar and the feedback I got from Homo and everyone else who was watching the session, they told me that I did great. And at that time I had already thought of saying, because I failed the tech check and it's gonna be a live audience that is listening to people who already know what they're talking about. Who am I? And then I was like, no, just take this as a learning curve. It's a start of many possibilities, a start of many opportunities. And it was because now I'm able to speak within Inspire SA like freely and start presenting stuff because I took an opportunity to try and learn and master how to speak like publicly and teach tech to people like to an international or a local audience.
Yeah,
Literally,
that's
so I started
yeah.
trying to master that skill instead of carrying on with my programming skills only. So
I like you see as you're looking at my face, I'm sure the audience can agree. I'm like a child next to the granddad or grandma listening to a story.
yeah, no,
Wow,
I
like
understand.
yeah, because with your response just right now, you just mentioned, I'm just highlighting the pinpoints. You just mentioned the importance of having a great mindset, a great mentality, and at the same time, being courageous to take on challenges. That's what I can pinpoint
Yeah,
from what you just said right now.
yeah.
So yeah.
Just to add on what you're saying, I just want to say most of the time people shouldn't be putting pressure on themselves too much.
Mm,
Just instead of putting pressure on yourself, just say to yourself, this is a new challenge, like what I said earlier on. It's a new challenge. What you can do is if it's something that you really have to do and it's something you think you probably will have more possibilities and opportunities from, just take it as it comes, learn whatever you need to learn from that challenge or to complete that challenge, and then you will see yourself become like a very better version of yourself, or you gain more skills, greater skills than you already have. Instead of applying pressure to yourself, saying, "Oh no, I have to do this, I have to do this," and then you start becoming immobile and you do nothing. Instead, just learn whatever you need to learn to complete the challenge or to move around or conquer the challenge itself, basically.
it must come naturally.
Yeah.
Must come naturally. Well, for me personally, I have loads of questions. I think I can even show you my bag of questions here. So I have personally a lot of questions. I'm sure the audience as well who are watching they have a lot of questions. So before I just want to say that if you have any questions or you'd like to find out more about some Someleze stories, you can always let us know in the comment section on our social media. We'll be sure to pass it to him, and he'll be sure to answer on social media or even on the show itself. so you shouldn't be discouraged with that.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna show some audience who are watching. Nana, she says congratulations,
Thank you.
and she says that was very inspirational as well. And then you got Spane, who said it's proud of you, Chief, and also another one from Samkeli Siwe, who is showing how happy she is with emojis. And
Thank you so much.
lastly, she says your attitude from day one has been towards gaining knowledge and really been great witnessing the fruits of that. So yeah, thank you. A shout out to everyone who's been watching us. And yeah, honestly, um, for me, I'm just telling the audience that you guys got to see how everything's connected, how Inspire says, so Malaysia just spilled the beans. I don't know why, but it just spilled the beans. But it's good to know because it's what it's what inspires people, and that's what the show is all about. So
Yeah.
anyways, we've come to the end of the show. It was really inspiring. That's what I'm gonna say. I can't find the words because my brain is still processing. So yeah, be sure to tune in and follow us on social media. So Melissa said his part and I'm saying my part. Be sure to check us in for our next episode. From the rest of the Inspire SA team and our new cloud advocates at Microsoft, may enjoy your evening.
Thank you, everyone.